What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Keys to Currency, where we interview high-level entrepreneurs doing high-level things. Today, I had another special guest. I had Mr. Vincent Lanza. Vincent came on. He talked about how he got started in real estate, the strategies he's currently utilizing, how he's leveraging wholesalers to bring him leads. Very powerful conversation. Hope you guys get a lot of value. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, comment. Please enjoy the episode. All right, Vincent Lanza, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I appreciate you inviting me to be here today.
Yes. I'm excited for you to be on the show. I want to start this out, man. If you could, introduce yourself and let me know a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I'm absolutely happy to do that. So my name is Vincent Lanza. I live currently in San Francisco, California, and a little bit of my business part of my background is that over the years I have involved in several businesses. The first one was an import and export company that was literally started out of a garage in San Francisco, and that one grew into a multi-million-dollar business. And after I left that, I started a media business. I'm going to date myself a little bit here in the days when CD-ROMs were still.
Oh, wow.
And so I did production of those, a lot of corporate accounts, and that, like all technology businesses, phased out after some time when things became more sophisticated and CD-ROMs were no longer needed. And currently, in the last about 4 or 5 years, I started a real estate investment company.
Oh, nice. So you got into real estate, right?
Yeah.
Now, what are we specializing in when it comes to real estate?
So I specialize in creative financing. So I specialize in acquiring deals through seller financing, subject to, through a variety of different seller financing techniques and exit strategies. So it's kind of my wheelhouse.
Got you. Now, is there a certain asset class that you go after, or is it just
right now it's mostly single family homes. We've done some things with multifamily as well.
Okay.
But mostly single family homes right
now. Okay.
So we're doing a few things in multifamily now as well. So like last year we started doing multifamily.
Gotcha.
Homes and mobile home parks, some other different types of things.
Is this only in California?
Nope. All over the country. We've done deals in Minnesota, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Tennessee, Oklahoma.
So when you're buying these creative finance, what's the exit strategy? Are you holding them, wholesaling them? What are you doing with these properties?
All the above.
Really?
Yeah, so depending on what the deal is, some of them we've held for long-term rentals. Other ones we have wholesaled just because it was maybe not something we wanted to hold on to at the time, or it was an area maybe, although we've done things all over the country, there are certain areas where we're like, I don't think I really want to own a property there. Or we've done wraparound mortgages on some of them as well. So all the above exit strategies.
Got you. So how did you learn how to do the whole creative finance process?
Well, there's a guy named Pace Morby.
Yeah.
who had some mentorship, and I got involved in that right at the beginning when he first started it, which was in April and May of 2020, COVID, because San Francisco shut down on March 16th. I remember the day very well, March 16th, 2020. And in April, the next month, that mentorship started, and I got involved in it at a very early stage. And it was honestly, I had been doing wholesaling before that, but the whole creative finance world was brand new to me. So
gotcha.
I dove in with both feet, both hands, the whole thing. And yeah, I began to learn about it, began to just take action and do deals right away.
So back into the whole creative finance. Now, has creative finance, allows you to scale at will? When you got started in real estate, did you immediately get into the whole creative finance process, or were you buying a different way? Take me on that journey.
Yeah, sure. So actually, when we got started in real estate, the first thing we did was wholesaling.
Okay.
And we got involved in another mentorship and learned about that. And being in San Francisco, it's very funny, actually. I remember going to a meeting in this other mentorship we were in, and one of their examples was, you can buy 20 houses in Detroit, or you can buy 10 houses in Atlanta, or you can buy 5 houses in Denver, or you can buy 1 house in San Francisco for the exact same amount of money. And then the guy who was talking, which was one of the speakers at the event, was like, so San Francisco is one of the hardest places to do a wholesale deal. And rather than that discouraging me, I was like, okay, you just laid down the gauntlet, dude. Like, I'm going to do a deal in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So that was the challenge. Went back to San Francisco and started doing direct to agent outreach and got our first wholesale deal there in San Francisco probably about 2 months or so.
Okay. What's the California market like, man? Because it's like, I feel like all I hear is like crazy things about it is like people say stay out of that market, right?
Well, okay, so the California market, I mean, we've done a lot of deals there. A lot of people say that. What I will admit is that there are some states, because we've worked in states like Georgia and other states where the tenant landlord laws are much more friendly towards the landlord. So a lot of people say stay out of California because it is truly a tenant friendly state, but there's a lot of other things you can do there. We've done a number of fix and flips that have been very successful. We've done some wholesale deals there. We're doing a couple of flips there right now, one in Southern California, one in Northern California. So, I mean, it can be a little bit more challenging, but it can also be a lot more rewarding, right? I mean, people typically maybe on a wholesale deal might make $5, $10, $15, maybe $20,000 in California. You can make 30, 40, 50, and even up to 6 figures.
Oof.
On wholesale deals. One of our buddies made $180,000 on just one wholesale deal.
On a wholesale deal.
Right? And right now we're working on one that's going to be a 6-figure wholesale deal. We're about to close it in the next couple of weeks. So like I said, lay down the gauntlet, take on the challenge. California, right?
Yes. So now, is it just like certain parts of California that are hot, like where you're going to make, big spreads like that? Or is it just statewide?
Well, yeah, it's very different, right? Because I come from the San Francisco Bay Area. I think the median price for a home in San Francisco is like 1.4 million. For the whole Bay Area, I'm not sure, but it's probably less than that, but
Gotcha.
that type of a range. So that area is very good and expensive. And then you've got Southern California. But you know what? We bought homes way up in the northern part of California for, I'm trying to think, let's say the least expensive one was like $125,000.
Wow.
So that's a big spread.
Yeah.
1.4 million or 125,000. And then we've just turned those around and maybe made like $20,000 or $30,000 selling it, something like that.
Got you. So
it's all over the place. But in your major city areas in SoCal and NorCal, it's, price points are higher.
Yeah.
People are doing deals all the time.
Yeah. You hear a lot of like the gurus that say stay out of California when it comes to real estate investing, but I'm pretty sure they're just talking about in regards to ownership, because I've heard of, what you said when it comes to wholesaling in California, you get something at a good discount, your spread is typically going to be close to 6 figures just because of the cost of living out there. So it seems like it's a great opportunity to go out there and do fix and flips or wholesaling. But as far as if you're trying to be a landlord, just be aware of the landlord laws. It's going to be more favorable for the tenants.
Yeah. And then it's also depending, if you can get a deal done creatively, sometimes maybe that can work. But if you're just buying a house, like kind of traditionally, say for cash, and then you're trying to rent it, it's going to be hard probably to cash flow. So yeah, we're not doing a lot of like buy and hold deals in California. Those are all in states like Florida and Georgia and
Makes
North
sense.
Carolina, where it makes a whole lot more sense.
Makes sense. So what is your favorite exit strategy right now in 2023?
Probably my favorite exit strategy right now in 2023 is doing wraparound mortgages.
Why is that?
Well, if you get the right deal with a wraparound mortgage, you can make money now. You can make money, cash flow ongoing, and you can build in some equity in the house at the back end. So you also don't have the responsibility necessarily or for sure not the responsibility, because you're like the bank, of taking care of the property.
Yeah.
Also, right now, with fix and flipping, it's a little bit of a risk because we don't know like where the market's going to go to and prices. So case in point, like we were doing a deal in Northern California where the ARV was $500,000 when we started the flip. Then this whole thing happened with the interest rates and prices going down. We ended up having to sell that house for $435,000. So that is what, like $65,000 below what we thought.
Oh, wow.
So All those things are a little more risky right now. It's because of the uncertainty of the market,
Yeah.
today.
So for the people that don't know, right, maybe they're listening to this for the first time and just getting into real estate, what is a wraparound mortgage?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know. We're talking like,
Yeah.
we want you to understand
Yeah.
too. So a wraparound mortgage is basically when you get when you acquire a property through some kind of creative deal. And let me give you a real world example, because I think that probably would help. So I can take over a property subject to the existing mortgage of the seller. And let's just say his terms are, he's got a interest rate of about 3.5%. And let's just say his payment is $1,000 a month.
Yep.
I can then take that and sell that to a home buyer for a higher interest rate and for a higher monthly payment. So maybe I can say, okay, I'm going to give you a 7.5% interest rate and your payment's going to be $1,500. And so essentially I'm making the difference between what I'm paying by taking over the mortgage payments for that person, $1,000, and the $1,500 that I'm charging to the end buyer. So, and it's called a wrap, but it's a wraparound mortgage. So basically you're wrapping your own terms around the terms that you have, and you're making the difference between what you're paying and what your buyer is paying you.
Yeah. Now,
Hopefully that's not too confusing.
no, I think you broke it down well. You mentioned some of the pros. What are some of the cons with a wraparound mortgage? I know, like, I've heard like you don't get the tax benefits. Is that true?
Right. That's true. Yeah. Because you're basically, in most cases, you're transferring title. You don't have to, but in most cases you are transferring title. So you no longer become the title holder of the property.
Gotcha. Is there any other cons that come with doing wraparounds?
There can be. I would say what you have to be cautious about is just, really making sure that you vet the buyer and that they're qualified, and,
Gotcha.
you get a buyer in there that's going to be able to pay, and you get a what's called an RMLO to qualify your buyer for you. So
What's a RMLO?
oh boy, now you're gonna ask me that, and I know what it is. I can't remember what the acronym stands for right off the top of my head, but it's somebody who just qualifies the buyers for a mortgage.
Gotcha.
So they're like, they'll check out their credit, they'll check out their income, check out all the things. We've got all these acronyms in real estate, and like,
yeah,
I know what they are, but sometimes it's like, okay, remember what that one is.
y'all gonna have to Google that one.
Yeah, look up RMLO and message me and let me know what it is. I know what they do.
So I want to talk to you about, a method. You got a method that's named after you called the Lanza method, right?
Yeah.
I've seen it all over Sub2. I've seen it on social media. We just met for the first time at this business mastermind, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what Lanza method is.
Yeah, okay.
What is the Lanza method?
So when I first got into the mentorship with Sub2 and with Pace, we would be on calls quite a bit, and we would talk about how can you generate leads basically for free, right? If you don't have a marketing budget, because in the real estate business, you can do all kinds of things. And one of the typical things that people do is just when they want to go direct to seller is to pull lists and then get VAs or make cold calls themselves, and then try to go direct to seller. And another thing that people typically do is go directly to 8 real estate agents. But in what we were doing, we were posting on social media to try to network together with wholesalers. And then we basically would communicate with those wholesalers and get the leads that they weren't able to convert into wholesale deals, and just try to convert those into creative deals and basically pay those wholesalers a referral. So basically, a wholesale deal is not going to work if the seller wants too much money. The whole point of getting a wholesale deal is, let me buy this house for a good enough price that I can now sell it to my end buyer and put on, like we said, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, whatever that assignment fee is. But if this, many sellers are adamant of, like, I know I've had sellers get angry at me, like, I'm not going to give up the equity in my house.
Yeah.
Right? So if that's the case, there's always the alternative of doing something creative where you can pay them a little bit more money for their house. And so basically, that's what the Lanza method is a whole method of utilizing social media and getting those contacts, and then doing your follow-ups and basically, it's like marketing to wholesalers for dead leads. I would say in a nutshell, that's what it is. And that's what we base our whole business on. And then over time, we built it out into more of a system. It started out with just me and my wife doing it.
Gotcha.
And basically like going up on Facebook, making posts on Facebook, setting appointments with wholesalers, getting on the phone with them, having them send over their leads and their contacts that they weren't able to convert. And then if we were able to convert them, then we would pay them a referral fee
for
those leads. So it's a win-win situation, because for the people that were giving us the leads, they were not valuable to them at all. They weren't able to monetize them. So be like, hey, if we can make you some money from this,
right?
Was that going to work for you? So it was, people were open to that completely, and so it was a good thing for them and a good thing for us as well. Over time, now we have a whole team of people that are helping us with that and doing the same thing, but just a little bit escalated.
Gotcha. So you guys have been able to scale that business model to a pretty steep thing then.
Yeah, over time. I mean, it started out, like I said, with just me and my wife, but then became a little bit overwhelming for us to handle it just on our own. So then we just started getting a team together of people to help us with the social media side, people that help us with the tech side, people that help us with the closing side, people that help us with the disposition side. So we have a whole team built out around.
Nice. What's been the biggest challenge in doing that? Because you got companies like a Keegley, right? And you got programs like an Astro Flipping that teach something similar. But a lot of the guys that I've networked with struggle with finding the good, solid wholesalers that are able to go find good deals, right? And bring good leads. For you with your method, and even though it's similar, what's been the biggest challenge for you utilizing that type of method?
Yeah, so I think what you're talking about, you're hitting the mark absolutely right on. Is that one of the biggest challenges is like going through the leads and trying to find leads that are good. So what we've done is we've gotten like a qualification process, and also we do like constant education. We do a weekly Zoom call that's open to anybody that wants to join, called Wholesalers Mastermind, where we teach about that. We have open office hours Friday at 8:30 a.m. Where people can just jump on and ask us questions. So we do a combination of having process to qualify those leads and also trying to educate people. And we're not paying like for the education. We're not doing any of that. We're just offering that as like free education.
Yeah.
People, we love for them to work with us, but it's not a qualification of them joining up on some of the education things we have. So we try to teach about comping, we try to teach about underwriting, we teach about doing contracts, we teach about all the above.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the most important thing is teaching the underwriting.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys do that, because it seems like a lot of the newbies, when they come into the business, it's like they feel like they're able to find deals, and when they bring it to you, it's like, son, this is not a deal. Yeah, a lot of it has to do because they don't know how to properly underwrite. Good intentions. It's just they just don't know how to properly underwrite a property.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, good intentions, and it's good like to take action, but it's also important to know what's a deal and what's not a deal, because, like you're saying, it's hard. Like if you bring a deal to us and it's contracted too high, we're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you feel like is the skill sets that you need to be a successful real estate investor or wholesaler?
That's a great question. I would say one of the primary skill sets you need is to have confidence. Like so many people just don't have that confidence. Like if somebody's listening to this or you're listening to this podcast right now and you're like, I don't know, this sounds really good. I'd love to do this. We have a lot of people come to us. I want to learn about it. I mean, even lots of our friends, right, when they find out that we're in real estate, they're like, hey, this, sounds exciting. Like, see what you're doing. And I think just having the confidence to, even though you don't necessarily have all the experience, just to have the confidence to start your journey and to connect up with people that maybe do have the experience to help you, some kind of mentor that can help you out, or somebody that you might joint venture with. I mean, that's why a lot of times we offer that to people like, hey, if you're feeling shaky about this, like, let us help you out. And then the other thing is just don't have analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
So many people are like, well, I don't know enough to do this, and then they never do anything.
Yeah.
So, the way that we did it, we just jumped in, like I said, feet first, all the way, dive all the way in from the deep end and learn as you go.
Yeah.
And have we made mistakes? Have we fallen flat on our face? Yes, we have, but we definitely have learned along the way. And we've had people beside us too that we could go to and ask questions, mentors and other people that were more experienced in the business that we could ask questions to and have us help them. So you always want to surround yourself with that if you can. Surround yourself with people that have done this, been there, done that, let them help you. But yeah, those two things I would say, have confidence. I always tell people when they talk to me, I'm like, from day one, when you talk to people, if you're getting into this, tell them that I am a real estate investor.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you've never done anything. That's who you are. You just took out you put on that hat, you took on that identity, and then start taking action. Just start doing it right away. I know. I mean, when we first got involved, we started calling realtors. We started calling buyers, and we never done a wholesale deal. I was scared out of my pants, but but I was like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
You walk through it, and then you walk away with that check, and it's like, oh, okay.
Got that proof of concept.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then you're off to the races.
I hear that, man. So what do you believe that people should start with first, sales or marketing? As far as learning.
Yeah. I think if you're wanting to get into wholesaling, which I think is a great first step, towards doing real estate, I mean, it's where we started, it's where a lot of people start. I think probably just making those connections, making those personal connections. I did a Zoom call earlier this week, and I called it the power of networking. And I just talked about like how starting out in the business, all of our deals came by networking. And the example that I got is that our first wholesale deal. So I talked about networking, all the different things you can do and, how you can network with people. And one of the things I mentioned is like to people is like, go to open houses.
Yeah.
And especially go to open houses of either houses that are distressed and need work or houses that have been flipped, that an investor came in and fixed it up. And that's how we got our first deal. We went to an open house of a house that was in need of work. It was a distressed home. We met the realtor. I practiced what I preach. I said, hi, my name is Vincent Lanza. I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking for distressed properties in San Francisco. 2 weeks later, that real estate agent called us, said, hey, I have a property. It's basically off market. There's some agents involved, but it's not on the MLS right now. It's owned by an elderly gentleman who needs money now because he's getting moved to a convalescent facility. He has to move out of his home. He's no longer able to take care of himself, and he needs money for that. And only 2 people made an offer on the house. Our offer got taken. We got it under contract. We assigned it, and we made a $30,000 assignment.
Wow.
So anyway, if you're to answer your question, I would just start making those connections, right? Sales or marketing, or whatever. I guess I would call that marketing. I'm marketing myself. I'm marketing my business. Get on the phone, call agents, get on the phone, call buyers. And you're like, how do I find them? Well, let me tell you how we found them. We went up on a thing called Google and we Googled real estate agents and we Googled buyers and we just started calling people. It's not that complicated.
I love it, man. You're just about taking action. It sounds like you feel like this is a relationship business, right?
Totally.
It's so people look at this so deeply and they're like, man, I got to be expert at sales. I got to be expert at marketing. You're like, screw that. Become an effective communicator. Yeah. Go network with people and use your relationships to move deals and find deals. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the question you're asking me, people ask me a lot of times, what's your number one marketing strategy? And my answer is networking.
Yeah. Relationships.
Truly like relationships and networking is how we've completely built our business.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the most successful people in this industry, right? They have solid relationships. They are getting deals through the relationships. They're making the most profit because of their relationships. It's just like anything in business. Absolutely. Your relationships is going to take you a lot further than the knowledge that you have about the business.
Yeah.
It's all about who, not how.
Yeah,
right?
you got it.
Yeah.
That's what I preach all the time.
Yeah.
That's my thing. And then it becomes subject to a little bit of who you are and what you like. But for me personally, like I love that. I love the fact that like we're meeting here today. We've never met each other, and I'm getting to know you and you're getting to
Yeah.
know me, and there's a relationship going on there. And I like meeting new people, and I like, I'm all about, like, it's partly about business, I understand, but it's also about, I like to know who you are. I like to know, like,
Yeah.
what's your family, like, where do you live,
Yeah.
what do you like, all that kind of stuff. We were talking about that a little bit before we started the
Yeah.
podcast, right? So yeah, so it's all about relationships.
Yeah. 1000%. Finding how we can bring value to each other and work and, just take each other to the next level. So I got a question, man.
Okay.
How do you keep yourself motivated when you're going through stress or through maybe the business is not doing too well? Maybe we're going through a dry period. Like, how do you keep yourself in the right mindset to stay motivated and focus at the task at hand?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, one of the things is, in fact, I had this question with one of the guys that works with me just a few days ago, and he was feeling really down because we had a couple of deals, and he's our disposition manager, and we had a couple of deals that he wasn't able to sell, and it really wasn't his fault. It just, that happens, right? Like, and that's sometimes a little bit disappointing, right? And you could get down on yourself. And what I told him was, I said, you have to learn in the real estate business to become emotionally attached from the deals, because otherwise it's a roller coaster ride.
Yes.
I mean, in this business and in many businesses, like, sometimes you have great successes and sometimes you have disappointments, and sometimes you have deals that fall through the floor at the last minute. And if you allow that to affect you emotionally, you'll be all over the place. You'll be up one day, down one day. So, and I'll admit, like, I was like that when I first got in the business. And then I realized, like, I can't go on this roller coaster ride. I can't be, emotionally like a yo-yo according to what's going on in the business. So I had to learn, like, this is a business. It's going to happen. I need to emotionally detach myself from this. And so, there's an even keel there of, like, realizing when challenges come, like, now I'll just embrace them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let me work through this challenge. Let me try to solve this problem. And I almost, like, you look at it like a game,
Yeah.
in a good way, not in a negative way. And so yeah, it's just trying to be that even keeled person. And then, whatever your daily routine may be, many of my friends and myself included, we have daily routines where we'll wake up, pray, meditate, whatever people like to do, exercise to get their day going. So, for me personally, it's praying on a daily basis. That helps me to get my mindset, my mind focused, and get where I need to be mentally and spiritually to take on the day. But like I said, definitely got to be emotionally detached from, from what's happening in the business. And like I said, I had that conversation with one of our team members, and afterwards he's like, "Oh, and I appreciate that. That helps me," because he was feeling like it was his fault, and I'm like, "It's not your fault. It's just the nature of the business."
Yeah, your emotions can crush you and throw you off mentally if you allow it to.
Stuff can slap you upside the head in this business for sure.
Yeah, I think one of the number one rules in business is there's no emotions in business. I mean, it's not always going to go our way. Yeah. We're not always going to get what we want. Right. But we got to understand there's going to be ups and downs in business. And when you have those downs, that's when the true character comes out in yourself, and you got to have the right mindset to stay on track.
You do. You do.
Definitely agree. Now, final question for you, man.
Okay.
Why is content so important in 2023?
When you're saying content, you mean education content?
No, as far as, like, branding yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, because of the world and society we live in, a lot of things are, a lot of people are looking at you and learning about you through social media. And case in point, like, we were just at a memorial for a friend of ours, and a couple of people that I haven't seen in probably over 5 years or more, like, "Hey, how's the real estate business going?" Hell, I haven't talked to them
Yeah.
I haven't seen them. I had no idea that they knew that I was into real estate. So what's happening is you're letting people know that this is your business, and you're letting people know what you're doing. And through that, we just talked about networking and connections, right?
Yeah.
Do you think possibly, and this has happened to us, that possibly like we've let people and friends and family know that we're in real estate? So case in point, one of our not direct relatives, but one of our indirect relatives, that's a relative through my son, when they had inherited a home, and when they're ready to sell it, they came to us. They were like, hey, we're selling this home. This was, so, I mean, that's just one thing, but putting yourself out there, letting people know what you're doing, it's part of just your business.
Yeah.
Right? It's letting people know what your business is. And people say that all the time in real estate, right? They're like, let people know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things can happen, as we talked about throughout this whole podcast, just through networking and relationships and connections. And that happens all the time to us, right? Like the people that know that we're in the real estate business will come to us for help with something or a question about something, or actually have a property, right?
Yeah.
Like there's another guy that we know that we grew up, well, we knew his parents really well. We grew up with him. I was his basketball and baseball coach in high school. And he turns out that he's a real estate lawyer now. So,
wow.
So, you know, he's a probate attorney, right? So he calls me when he has properties for sale. And, you know, if he had known that I was in real estate,
Yeah.
you know, through relationship and connection and just putting myself out there and putting content out about, you know, teaching and about different homes we've had done deals on. Like we do content on some of the homes we flip. We do content on just some kind of point of teaching or whatever. So you talk about marketing. I mean, that's, to me, in today's world, that's part of marketing. Now, that being said, I didn't have a Facebook page till like 2019. So I'm not a social media expert.
But you understood the importance of branding yourself, which is why you like, hey, I got to get on social media.
What I understood, the reason I probably didn't have a social media page was like, I'm not all about sharing pictures of what I'm doing with my friends.
Yep.
You know, which if you are, like, hey, there's no reflection on you. But I realize the power of it in marketing your business.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it should almost be illegal for a business owner not to brand himself and put himself on social media, because you got to let people know what you do and what you want. Yeah. I mean, it's the best way to build credibility.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but just have one more story. So we're, because I'm talking about the power of social media.
Yeah, go in.
We're at the airport about 3 weeks ago, and a friend of mine was flying in from Germany. And first time he's been in America. We've been trying to get him to come to America. He's a musician for many years. And so we're super excited, like after, you know, knowing him for a while, he's finally able to, his wife actually gave him a trip to America for a birthday present.
Nice.
So we're picking him up at the airport, and I'm getting out of my car, getting ready to open the trunk lid and put the luggage in and everything. And a car rolls up to me, and it's moving real slow and stuff. And then the guy rolls down the window, and I'm like, I'm a little bit scared. Like, I'm not sure what this dude is up to. And he rolls down the window and says to me, hey, aren't you Pace Morby's friend? I'm like, yeah, man. We start chopping it up. He goes, hey, man, nice to meet you, Lanza. And I'm talking about the power of social media, right?
Yeah. I'm
in the airport just randomly, like, how does this guy even know me if I'm not on social media? He would never know me. Right? Yeah. And he said, like, let's do some deals together. I said, yeah, you know, hit me up. Let's do it. So I just wanted, that story came to mind when we were talking about that, because it's I'm just talking about the power of social media, of like just random, like, people knowing you that you would have never met and never connected up with if you hadn't put yourself out there on social media. I told Pace that story and we were laughing. I said, talk about like marketing, talking about like free lead generation. There you go. It's like you just be in the airport and get leads, people driving up to you.
That's awesome, man. That's, like you said, it shows the power of social media. And Pace came on and he was like, listen, he's like, me being on your podcast, I'm cloning myself.
Yeah.
All right. I'm duplicating myself. So it's like, you're doing the same thing right now. Yeah. By you telling your story, your background, what you do, you're cloning yourself, because now thousands of people are going to see this. And if they're in your market in California, the markets that you stated, they're going to hit you up. Yeah. So it's it's bringing in money and opportunities. So guys, you guys got to get on the branding. If you're not doing this as a business owner, you're going to get left in the dust. What's next for Mr. Vincent Lanza?
Well, as you know, you and I are here at this business conference, and so that's been pretty exciting to hear what's going on with that. But this year we're about to roll out some new things with our team.
Awesome.
We're basically getting ready to
guys, we're inside of a airport terminal at a hotel, so there's a lot of background noise. For those who listen to the audio version, it's kind of crazy right now.
But anyway, we're rolling out some new things with our team to make it more effective for people to work with us and easier for people to work with us. And you know, being at this business conference has been great. I'm always up to learning something new. I'm always up to working with new people and making new relationships. So yeah, we're just building out our business. We're taking that Lanza method to the next level.
Nice.
And you know, working on just helping as many people as we possibly can.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on to the show, you know, giving good value, giving game, letting the people know who you are and what you do. Guys, for those of you watching, got my hand up right now. I'm blocking the sun. We've had some distractions. I apologize.
Should have been wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, for real. But I hope you guys got a ton of value. Please like, share, subscribe, comment your favorite part about this episode. Vincent, how can they get a hold of you?
Probably the best way to get a hold of me is through our website right now. It is lanzapartners.com. That's LANZAPARTNERS.com. Hopefully maybe we'll drop that into the comments section here so you can catch it. But it's lanzapartners.com. Just hit us up there. You can get in touch with me through there. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Vincent Douglas _. I'm making things complicated at Mark. VINCENTDOUGLAS _.
You gotta let them know.
Handle. But anyway, just look me up. It's Vincent Lanza, and if you go to the website, you can connect up with us. So
awesome. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on here, guys. Until then, I will see you guys on the next episode. See ya.